There might be some rain coming through. We expect rain soon. Rain is close. The session has been declared wet. No sign of this rain stopping. clearing up. Rain should be gone for now. Nothing but sunshine all day.
Training. It's how Advanced Auto Parts trains our staff to get you the right part even faster.
Not bad.
The parts you need, even faster. Advanced Auto Parts. Service is our best part. Next!
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
There might be some rain coming through. We expect rain soon. Rain is close. The session has been declared wet. No sign of this rain stopping. Rain is clearing up. Rain should be gone for now. Nothing but sunshine all day.
Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the ISCA Super Cup Series. As we are in race number 2 of the playoffs. Of course, my name is Brian Britt. I have no other than Big Al in the booth with me as my co-commentator. Of course, Kobe Jordan down behind the camera is going to be pressing all the buttons for us here in the ISCA. Big Al, we're at Watkins Glen. Time to do some left and right turns here at what I'd say is probably the NASCAR road course. I mean, this is what comes to mind when I think of NASCAR road course racing.
Yeah, absolutely, Brian. This is where it all actually got started way back in the day. Somebody got the great idea that we could turn left and right. Well, here we are today, and we're getting ready to make it happen again. Man, excited to be here, though. I think this is going to be a great race, especially like you mentioned earlier. Second race of the playoffs. Really starting to get things in gear here.
Yeah, of course, qualifying just now kicking in gear here at Watkins Glen. So definitely going to be an exciting one here at this road course. Of course, just a little bit of a refresher. Last week at Atlanta Motor Speedway, or Atlanta Super Speedway as we've dubbed it, Brandon Pasalacqua, who we're seeing on the racetrack right now, he was able to score the victory there and lock himself into the next round. We know he is a really good road course racer as well. But I don't think Brandon's really going to be, I think he's going to be going for the win, but I don't think he necessarily has to win. He's already locked in. This is kind of almost like a fun race for the 6. He's a strong road course racer, but I'm looking at some of the other drivers that are going to try to lock themselves in, such as Matt DeCiani. He's one that I think is going to be really trying desperately to win here. He's always been a road course style driver in that one machine. Now, another driver as well that I think is going to really have a good shot here tonight is the 55 of Abner Acosta. But before we get too much further into discussing popular, I'd say favorites for the win here tonight, let's talk about the playoffs. Let's look in exactly what the points look like coming into tonight's race. Of course, we talked about Brandon Pasalacqua. He was last week's winner. He's the only driver that has really locked himself in into the round of 12. Of course, Patrick Gitter, he's in second place in points. Third place is Matt DeCiani. Brian Johnson's in fourth. Derek Heitman is in fifth. Abner Acosta, sixth. Randy Mullins is in seventh. Greg Wyszynski, eighth. Clayton Hoffman had a bad race last week. He's ninth. John Bender in 10th. Continue to go. Of course, look at these 16 drivers. John Shoppers in 11th, Mark Sanchez 12th, Randy Drumhiller 13th, Tim Wortman Jr. in 14th, 15th Alexander Carr, and Kenny Powell rounds out this 16-car field. Now, there are some drivers that I'm seeing in that 16 that are strong road course drivers that have gotten better and better and better as these seasons have progressed, as the years have kind of ticked on by. Josh Shoffner's one of them. He's 11th in the points right now. I think he's got a really good chance at getting a good finish here. He is competitive, a top 5 looking race car in speed, I know in practice, and he's always been really consistent. But as I said, I'm looking at this driver that we have on screen right now, Abner Acosta. Every time we've seen that 55 come to a road course, it seems like he's in contention to win, Big Al. Who is your favorite, you think, that's a road course ringer?
Man, it's really hard to tell right now, Brian, because there have been so many changes. Some things do stay consistent, though they don't change. Yeah, and one thing I'm going to kind of disagree with you on is the Brandon Pasalacqua thing. You never stop sharpening your knife in a fight. You continue to sharpen that thing, and the only way you're going to do that is actually going out there running an aggressive race, trying to win. Yeah, the pressure's off of him, but I think it's actually got more pressure on him, man, because he's still got to go out there and try to win the championship. So, but my favorite to win this thing tonight, I think I'm going to have to go with Mr. Gitter.
That's interesting.
Yeah, Gitter's my guy.
I understand. He's definitely, Gitter is a very consistent driver. I got to say, though, he's not really a road course ringer. I'd say he is competent at these tracks. He's not the best road course driver, but this is Watkins Glen. This is a different road course. This is one that a lot of people are a lot more familiar with. Like if we were to go to Chicago street course, I would not say Patrick Gitter is my pick, but I can understand why you maybe would pick him for Watkins Glen. I kind of can understand that. One driver I also got my eye on is who's on the screen right now, Paul Hill. He showed a ton of pace at the Chicago street course. I mean, this guy really was one of the fastest drivers that night. I mean, gave all these guys a run for their money. I think that's what's so exciting about this race here. We got a lot of guys that are road course specialists that are going to be gracing this field here tonight.
Yeah, I love it. I think they're going to love the fact that you actually dubbed them as road course specialists as well, Brian. But it's going to take a specialist of sorts to get this thing done tonight. This is a very old, iconic track, but it still puts itself as on the difficult of tracks to drive. So if you really got the groove and you're feeling it, it's going to slosh back and forth just at the right times. If you don't, on the other hand, have a setup that you feel smooth in, you're going to be like topsy-turvy. It's going to be going left while you're going right, and then you're just going to have a horrible day. We've seen even pros struggle on this track in the real, so I think it's going to be an interesting race tonight, nonetheless.
Yeah, no, I definitely think it's going to be an interesting one for sure. Let's take a look at some of the details of the night's race, kind of just so we can get acclimated on what to expect here tonight at Watkins Glen. Of course, this is going to be a 56 lap race, 137 miles. So actually a fairly short race here tonight on the schedule. Of course, stages are stage 1 ends at lap 12, coming to lap 13. And of course, we will have cautions tonight. I know sometimes we, in the past, we've had flirted and experimented with not having stage cautions. We will have those tonight. Of course, stage 2 will complete on lap 24, going to 25. And of course, the race, of course, will complete 56, going to 57. 4 sets of tires, 3 actually down in the pits. Fuel window is 35 laps. Now, I want to kind of circle back, go back a step there to the 4 sets of tires. Now, one thing that iRacing has done recently is we have seen an update I do believe, this past couple weeks, or if not this week, that has adjusted on the next-gen tires at the road courses, or the next-gen tire completely. And I'm wondering, what is that going to do to these drivers? I'm hearing a lot more, kind of rumblings that there is tire wear, and that's something that we really haven't seen a lot of at the road courses in the past, Big Al. I mean, I don't know if you remember, but we've seen it to where when the gas runs out of these vehicles, they get faster. And that's not usually what I think actually is supposed to happen in these next-gen machines.
Yeah, and that's awesome too tonight because that's going to add yet another level of realism to this thing as these drivers come out here. And that's what I'm saying, that as they continue to improve our sim, it definitely not only increases the realism, but it also, increases the technicality. So it does make it a little bit more challenging on drivers. And I'm excited to see that once we actually get late into the run on that third stage, that these cars are actually going to, the drivers are going to come into a situation where they don't have a choice about when to change tires.
And that's the thing about, we got a 35 lap fuel window. I'm not sure if we'll have to see pitting or not there, but I mean, if the tire wear gets substantially bad, then you might be forced to, like you kind of said, So I'm curious to see what that looks like. And one thing about road course racing is if your tires are changing as the run goes on, it's almost like, you know, the way you have to drive it changes, and I think that's going to be a big deal. I mean, especially with road course racing. I mean, you have to have the track memorized, and if the car is handling different almost on every lap, that's just another thing that you're going to have to deal with, and I think that's going to make this a very hard thing to handle. So I can't wait to see how these guys rise to this challenge. I'm sure a lot of these guys have been putting a ton of time in when it comes to practice. I guarantee that's the case. I mean, I know the Paradigm guys have probably been putting in a ton of time. I know the Team Conti guys, I would not be shocked that they've really just been turning laps. Because one thing that I think we're going to see is the guys that have really put the most time in, they're going to be the ones that succeed the most here at Watkins Glen. And I wouldn't be super shocked as well that some guys that maybe don't count themselves as very competent at the road courses, that they've maybe put more practice in and are trying to maybe score some points here because they know that this is their weakness. They got to make it their strength,
You might find just the opposite, Brian. You might find that some guys just actually showed up. We've seen that happen now. I don't think that's going to be the case because this is a very technical track. And I do believe it's a track that you got to give its due. I mean, you really have to come out here. And I've just kind of eavesdropped and I've heard people talk about the challenges with different setups. So even the setup's going to come into play on this thing here this evening.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I think setups is going to be very important. The track conditions, I think, are going to be really, really important as well. The changes of the track, and I think what's going to be really scary is coming through the S's. If tire wear is as bad as we're hearing that it is, later on the run, coming through the S's, if you lose the car at all momentarily, you have some metal barriers that are waiting to meet you, and that's not going to be fun. That's going to cause a lot of damage. And this is all going to be about limiting mistakes. That's what this race is going to be all about. If you can limit the mistakes and be fast enough, you will win this race. So
Yeah,
we'll see if that's going to be the case. Let's take a step away, though. We'll play our national anthem, and we'll be right back after that.
Race fans, it is time for those most famous words in motorsports.
Driver, start your engine!
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the ISCA Super Cup Series as we are visiting Watkins Glen here tonight. Of course, the grid is all set for this evening's action. Let's take a look and see where we're going to be all starting here tonight. Of course, Abner Acosta, he's going to be up on the pole. He's my favorite. I got to say, he is my favorite just because he's a road course ringer in every definition of the, I should say, if you look in the dictionary and you see road course ringer, I think Abner Acosta's picture is probably there. Of course, Josh Schaffner is going to be starting in second. What a great qualifying position for the Iceman. Third place, of course, going to be Paul Hill. Very good road course racer. Patrick Gitter is going to be starting fourth. Brandon Pasalacqua is going to be starting fifth. He's the only one that is locked in currently. Matt DeCiani, he starts sixth. Brian Johnson in seventh. Randy Mullins is going to be starting in that eighth place position. Ninth place, Clayton Hoffman. 10th place, Tim Wortman Jr.
11th place is going to be Jose Acosta. Alongside him is going to be Mark Sanchez. Next, you're going to have Greg Wachinski. On his outside is going to be Nick King. Starting in row 8, we're going to find J.C. Evans in that number 9 Chevrolet with Matthew Cisna on his outside. Kenny Powell starts in 17 with Randy Drumhiller. Along his outside, Jay Hone fires off in 19th with Jeffrey Souza in the Smart Bus coming in, and that rounds out your top 20.
New drivers to the series. Connor Banks going to be starting in 21st. Paul Olson starts in 22nd. Alexander Carr in 23rd. Kendall Levron in 24th. John Bender 25th. Greg Carr starts in 26th. And, of course, rounding out this 27-car field is Jose Medina in the 48 machine. So 27 cars set to start here at Watkins Glen, and gotta say, we see that go bowling sign right there. I think we're getting ready to go bowling here going into turn 1.
Yeah, that's a pretty good assessment, Brian. I'm gonna have to say I probably agree with you 110%.
Yeah, I mean, 27 cars at a road course, that's quite a lot of cars. I think we're gonna end up having a lot of traffic here tonight. I think we're gonna end up, it's gonna be an exciting race. I can't contain it. Just thinking about the top 6 right now and top 10. I mean, there's a lot of fast guys that are in this top 10, and I think it's going to be a battle. Everyone is going to be looking for someone else to make a mistake. So I think it's all going to be about limiting your own mistakes. If you make a mistake, you could possibly let a win slip through your grasp here.
Absolutely. And then one of the things, Brian, that I just wanted to say, the top 5 have sub 111 laps, and that's moving out on this track.
Yeah, they are very, very fast. I mean,
and their
I'm
times
definitely
are so close together as well. So, when you look at how much, there's not a lot of meat left on that bone right there. So when you put those guys together like that, it's just going to equal a very exciting time here.
Yeah, no, I think that to me means it's going to be competitive racing. I think these guys are going to be sticking very close to one another for quite some time, and I think we saw a lot of that at the Chicago Street Course. When we were there at the street course, it was back and forth battling. I mean, we saw Paul Hill battling with Brandon Pasalacqua. We saw Matt DeCiani in the fray, Patrick Gitter. I mean, it was quite a battle there. And I think this is going to be maybe even more so, just considering, I mean, this is the NASCAR road course. The NASCAR road course. I mean, the only other track I'd say that even comes close to having the reputation of being the NASCAR road course is probably Sonoma, but I think Watkins Glen is even more synonymous though with NASCAR road course racing. But Abner Acosta filing through the S's here. This is going to be a dangerous spot. Those S's, because I mean you can see, look at those guardrails all over the place. That means that if you make one mistake, you're going into that metal.
Yeah, it's not going to be so dramatic, though. It's going to be okay. Those cars have bounced back off of those walls pretty quick. Like, one thing, though, that I'm just in here and I'm looking at, and it's just kind of like, wow, it's a lot of cars down there.
That is a lot of race cars on the racetrack here at Watkins Glen. And that I think this is a really good sign of the health of the ISCA. That's one thing I just love about what we've been seeing in this series is the growth that we've seen over this last season, to where this is truly becoming, and I think it has in a lot of ways become the most competitive series on the service.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, we got some of the top guys that are not pro drivers showing up week in and week out. And the racing is a lot of times cleaner than the officials.
Yeah, you just look at the driver list, and it's just a host of some of the greats, man. And then, the production, and then the two commentators, man, those guys, wow, they're awesome.
Well, here we go. Let's commentate. We're on the job right now, Big Al. Green flag is out for the first time here at Watkins Glen as Abner Acosta goes up through the gears, and already we're side by side getting ready to enter turn one. Look at that, 3 wide as they're able to settle it out. Looks like everybody's going to get through clean enough. Somehow everyone is still pointed the right direction. In turn number one, we look up the 21, and Patrick Gitter goes into the guardrail.
Pretty hard swipe right there from Patrick. We'll have to look and see how much damage he actually incurred.
As we take a look here, we see he is, of course, riding over the curbing somewhat, and it looks like, I think that already unsettled the car. I think he entered the corner kind of already unsettled. And, in a lot of ways, just looking at that initially, I thought maybe someone got into him, but that was all by himself. Nothing. It just went around.
She just stepped out on him. I mean, that was it. He was loving over the right way, but she just, he looked the wrong way, and she was gone.
And it could have had something to do with cold tires, too. That's something we always got to keep in mind about these sort of road course races. If you do not have those tires up to temperature.
Patrick Gitter's still struggling as he comes around, I believe, turn 8 right there, and he just, almost lost it again.
He's back in 18th right now. The driver started, I do believe, in the top 5. Has now fallen all the way, plummeted, I think is the word to use, all the way back to 18th position. Clearly something is wrong with this race car.
Well, Patrick Gitter is one of these guys who I don't believe he is going to totally freak out just because he's lost a couple of spots. He's just got to get back on the horse, settle down, and just make it do what it do, man. That's the only advice I can say.
He's got some damage, too. He's got right front damage. And I'm wondering, that could, tracks like this, that can very much impact the handling. Look at that damage. That's pretty severe. That's not just a little dent. That's a pretty good little right side damage. As it looks like Cisna's going to let him go. Smart call for Matthew Cisna.
And the one thing too, once you have that kind of damage, there's no wave arounds on road course, so you're really literally stuck where you're going to be stuck at. So that's going to kind of not work out in his favor either.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. Right on the money, Big Al. Whatever mistakes you make at a road course, a lot of times those mistakes are not going to be able to be undone. Like, you're not going to get a reset, because the only time we're going to see cautions, of course, for the stages, but it doesn't mean you're going to get all your position back, all your track position back. You're going to have to take all this time to try to pass the field. That's going to be difficult to do. This is not going to be easy for Patrick Gitter. He has made it incredibly difficult for himself. But, of course, I'm watching further back up the field. We got a battle coming on for the lead. Paul Hill and Abner Acosta are going to be fighting here for the lead very shortly. Now, I do want to kind of go us back. I hate to be that person that stirs up the drama. But remember, New Hampshire, Abner Acosta sent it into the corner on Paul Hill.
Was that what happened?
Paul Hill out of the race.
That what happened?
That is exactly what I would say. He definitely sent it in on him. I don't think that's being deceptive at all. I think that is exactly what happened. We are past it, but I'm just saying that Paul Hill might not be past it. Paul Hill might not be past it.
Are we really past it? Because you just kind of talk about leaving the hatches.
I'm a commentator. I have to talk about things that have happened in the past.
I guess. Nothing like stirring it up, though. But yeah, that actually did occur. But I don't think it's going to be that issue. I think that is actually behind them. I'm hoping, man, because right now, Abner's kind of running away with this thing, and he's not looking behind him. He's really looking ahead. And back to Gitter, the one thing that is going to work out with Gitter, he'll have enough time to get his car fixed. But the unfortunate part is everybody that he passes, he's just going to have to pass him again. Yeah,
it's really going to be a very difficult decision to make. Do you spend the time to try to fix it and let all the guys you passed get back by you again? Or do you just kind of deal with the damage and try to see if you can hold on to the track position? I mean, that's a hard decision to make.
I don't think so. There's just so many variables when you're doing road course racing. It's not just like when you're racing at Dover or Talladega, you know. Here you have to truly take into consideration that the car has to be balanced because you're turning left and right. So you can't have one side dinged up and the other side not. It's gonna cause the car to pronate.
It's definitely going to cause the car to handle a little bit differently, for sure. But Patrick's doing a good job of getting through the field. I mean, he's up to 14th right now. He had fallen back to 18th. So, I mean, hey, he's making a bad day a little bit better. I mean, he's caught up, I do believe, now to Nick King. He's right on the rear end of that driver. Of course, we're watching the battle kind of for the lead. It has been heating up. I mean, so Abner, I don't know if Abner's just maintaining the gap and not really trying to pull away from Paul Hill, or if Paul maybe is just showing a lot of speed. I mean, because Paul last time by ran his fastest lap of the race, a minute 10.770. Now, of course, Abner has been faster than that, but still the fight is heating up. Matt DeCiani, he's one of the guys I have circled of being a person that I think is likely to maybe be in contention to win this race. Considering he usually at these road courses is a dominator. He is someone that shows up and really shows up at the end, and we'll find him in the lead. Like, I mean, that's just somehow he always seems to find his way there, and it's because he's a skilled road course racer, and he just skillfully got by Brian Johnson.
He is very consistent, Brian. That means he is taking his time easy in, easy out, rounding the corners when he needs to. And that's what's going to happen. The drivers are racing their own best lap. They can't get caught up in what other drivers are doing. You just got to get there behind that guy, and when you get the opportunity to go, you just got to put the hammer down and don't think about it.
Yeah, one thing I'm seeing is Clayton Hoffman. He's been trying to work through the field as well. I think he started, I do believe, 9th position. He's up to now 7th. So, and he even will tell you, I mean, I think last week we talked to Clayton a little bit, and he said that, hey, I'm not the best road course racer. That's something I think that the 92 is going to have to work on. But I think after such a bad race last week at Atlanta, I mean, I got to say Clayton did not fare very well last week at Atlanta Motor Speedway. And I think it's kind of put the fire underneath him, Big Al, in a lot of ways for the 92. I mean, he's got to get a good finish here at Watkins.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't think that's lost on him. I mean, especially going into the playoffs. You know, Brandon Passalacqua has a little bit more time than, say, Clayton Hoffman. But those guys, you got to really kind of not only get it right for the road courses, Brian, but you got to really kind of look at those tracks you got towards the end of the season as well. I mean, if those
I mean, we got other tracks like the Roval. So, I mean, you got to if you're not a road course guy, you need to get to be a road course guy. You're going to have to be able to have that in the tool bag. I mean, that's something that you want to have that you can use to try to, make something happen. But a really good stout top 10 right now. What's up?
Yeah, speaking of making something happen, just watching Paul Hill, man, he is slinging that thing around the racetrack. He is definitely got it down. Now, I think he's just putting the appropriate amount of pressure on, say, an Abner Acosta because, Abner is not running away with this thing by any stretch of the imagination. Paul Hill is right back there keeping him honest every turn of the way.
Yeah, for sure. And like I said, I think these guys are probably very comparable when it comes to being good at these road courses. I mean, we saw Paul Hill really show off his road course prowess at the Chicago Street Course. And I think that's what we're seeing here today. I think he's really showing that, hey, anytime you put me at a road course, I'm going to be in contention. I'm going to be up here battling. And, I think Abner in a lot of ways has met someone that can go toe-to-toe with him. And a lot of times we don't see that. Usually when we see Abner at a road course, he's uncontested. No one's able to touch him. But I think this is a new ISCA. We're seeing guys that show up that are able to contend. But the thing is, as well, the guys that are here, that were here when Abner was dominating in road course races, are now getting better as well. I mean, you think about Josh Schaffner. Schaffner's running safely in 3rd place. He's managing to fend off Brandon Passalacqua fairly easy. Last time by, he was faster than both the top 2. I think we have a replay dialed up here. We're going to check. Looks like Alexander Carr with some issues here. So let's see exactly what happened with the 18. I do believe, I think we're going to have an issue here. Yeah, just possibly loose. I think that's the carousel, if I'm not mistaken. Coming out of the carousel, he gets a little bit loose, hits into the inside wall. Those guardrails are everywhere on this racetrack. And, of course, he loses quite a significant amount of spots out of that. He's actually now back to last place.
Yeah, but you know what, Brian? It looks like that car just bounced right back. No sign of any major damage. So he please help me out here a little
Patrick?
bit. Yeah, he like Patrick Gitter is just they're gonna have to just sit that out. Really racing hard there between Abner Acosta and Paul Hill. Right now, Paul Hill's trying to get around Abner, which is making it really sporty.
Yeah, I mean, and you see, like I was saying before, kind of before we got that replay, the guys third and fourth are right there. I mean, this is a stellar battle right now, and I would not be surprised that Matt DeCiani is going to be right there as well. I mean, the more these guys fight, the slower they're gonna slow each other down, and that's going to bring, I think, the one machine into the fray as well. I mean, right now, I think DeCiani is running faster than all three or all four of the guys that are in front of him. So watch out. I mean, this is going to be a 5-car battle, I think, for the lead. But I do want to mention as well, we only have, I do believe, coming up to now 2 laps. And I do want to tell Kobe, I don't think we're live right now.
2 laps. That's right. 2 laps to go. I said 2 laps.
I must not have been. I'm sorry about
2 laps to go before we're actually going to have the Crown of King here.
I got them coming through the chicane. Okay. Yeah, all right. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. We're just making sure we were looking at the right thing. I was like, wait a second, they're not in the same corner. But yeah, okay. No, we do have, I do believe, coming up to now 2 laps to go here in stage number 1. Abner Acosta has a half a second lead on Paul Hill.
Yeah, when we
really interesting. One thing I'm noticing, though, is the tire fall off. There is some sort of tire fall off happening right now. I mean, they're not running their fastest laps right now, and I think that's really nice.
About a second off, but I'm telling you, Paul Hill has set himself up to actually make a move on Abner Acosta, and he had like 1 shot to do it. So now, Abner kind of smoked it going there. That might give him a little bit more light at the end of the tunnel.
And that's one thing that we got to keep. You know, Abner is a road course guy, but if the tire changes, like if iRacing threw an update Abner's way and he wasn't prepared for it, didn't know that there was going to be some differences with the tire wear, that could throw you a little bit of a curveball, and that could be something that Abner's going to have to get used to, and that might be Paul Hill's way to possibly get by.
That's a very broad assumption. I mean, like, really.
Well, I mean, I take shots in the dark all the time figuring out.
Poor Abner. He didn't get the memo. No,
I'm just saying it's a change that I think all the guys that are good at road course racing are probably going to be like, well, wait a second, I gotta really reassess, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Because anytime they make changes, especially, you got to think about it. Even though this is like season 14, week 1, we're at the end of this season, so everybody's used to the cars the way they've been handling thus far. This last set of changes were actually pretty major.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't change too much, I think, on the ovals, but I think they did change somewhat on the road courses for sure. And I know they changed a big thing. If these guys were in the Xfinity car, they would have had massive changes. The Xfinity car changed quite a bit. So iRacing has definitely been doing a lot of stuff, and that's the thing that we should expect. I mean, as this season goes on, as the playoffs go on, iRacing could make some changes. I mean, just based on data and things that we get from the real life NASCAR. And iRacing really wanting to try to be as close to that as they can be. I do want to mention we are on the white flag lap for stage number 1. The battle is on for the stage 1 win.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Speaking of being as close as you want to be, that's exactly what Paul Hill is trying to do. And I'm going to tell you, this caution is going to come up. Probably couldn't come at a better time because this field is actually encroaching upon itself. So those boys about to run into some lap traffic.
And we should see the yellow flag any second now as Abner Acosta he locks it up every time he enters turn 1. I don't know if that's something
Yeah,
that
that's
he's meaning to do.
I don't think it's really that big of a deal. A lot of drivers are probably going
It's
to
not
do
slowing
that.
him down. It's not
Yep.
slowing him down. It's not seeming like it's affecting the race car. And the yellow flag is now out. Abner Acosta, your Stage 1 winner. Paul Hill comes home in a strong second place. Josh Schaffner in third. Brandon Pasolaco fourth. Matt DeCiani fifth. Brian Johnson sixth. Clayton Hoffman seventh. Randy Mullins eighth. Tim Wortman Jr. ninth. And Jose Acosta rounds out the top 10. With that, we'll take a brief step away. We'll come back and we'll talk to Abner if we can.
Speed training. It's how Advanced Auto Parts trains our staff to get you the right part even faster. Not bad. The parts you need, even faster. Advanced Auto Parts. Service is our best part. Next! Back, ladies and gentlemen, to the ISCA Super Cup Series here at Watkins Glen. We're going to be talking with our second place finisher in Stage 1 because, unfortunately, Paul Abner was not available, but I really wanted to talk to you anyway. Paul, how's the racing been like down there on the Watkins?
Grippy. The track is a lot colder than I expected, so it's been a lot of fun here. Been able to push a little bit harder with the latest iRacing update. There is a little bit of tire management now on these road courses, so the colder track kind of lets us just duke it out.
And that's one thing we've noticed as well. It seemed like you guys had a little bit of fall off, and is that something that you welcome?
Oh, for sure. It's a nice change, you know. It adds another layer that's been much needed on the road course side, so it's a lot of fun. looking forward to these next 2 stages here.
Now, how's the racing been with Abner? Do you feel like you see some chinks in his armor? Do you think you can get him on the longer runs?
I think on the longer run, I might have him. Depends on if he adjusts here, and he seems to be overcooking his tires a little bit in some of these brake zones, so I'm going to try to capitalize and try not to get tangled up with him, though. This track is incredibly difficult to pass on, so even when you get a little bit of a gap, it's hard to complete that pass.
Now, are you concerned about the guys behind you as well? Like, maybe if you try to make that pass, you open a door for someone else?
Oh, for sure. Hopefully. That's kind of my plan. I'd like those guys to be close enough where we could all freight train pass and they get busy, and me being in the front car, I can run out to a little bit of a lead.
For sure. Well, we're definitely looking forward to seeing what you can do here tonight, Paul. You've very much impressed us with your road course, kind of prowess, considering we saw you at the Chicago Street Course. Knew you would be strong here tonight. We wish you the best of luck. Who can we give a shout-out to?
Boys over at Dent Slayer, of course, Team Conti Sim Performance, Matt DiCiani, all those guys. So,
all right. Well, thanks for your time, Paul, and best of luck.
Thank you.
All right, that was Paul Hill, and I got to say I love the confidence there, Big Al. Really just seems like Paul knows. He says, I think I have some opportunities here to get by Abner.
Well, I'm just going to kind of misquote my wife a little bit, but in order to do this, you have to have confidence. If you come into this and you're not sure-footed, it's going to show between the pedals and the steering wheel, man, and everybody around you is going to sense that. So, yeah, I totally get what he's saying, and I love the fact that he is so confident and the fact that he has a plan, Brian.
Yeah, I mean, he's seeing the weakness. We saw him, Abner, kind of cooking exactly what he was saying, cooking the tires when he locked them up going into turn 1, and that's got to have some sort of consequence on the tire life.
Eventually it will. It adds up because you will flat spot that tire. Maybe before originally, like when our tires were hockey pucks, and it didn't matter. But now with the addition of this new update, that's something that definitely is going to come into play, especially over the long run.
And we just saw just a quick little bit of a quick clip of Patrick Gitter catching up to the rest of the field. He did he made a big decision to get substantial damage fixed on that race car. So hopefully he'll be a little bit more competitive. But he went from 11th all the way back to, I do believe, 24th. So that's a big loss. I mean, he had worked his way up quite well, up to almost the back door of the top 10, even with that damage. Hopefully the car will handle a lot better for him, and we'll get to see him racing closer to the front a little bit later. Here comes the pace truck, though, going to be taking a left turn down pit road as we start stage number 2. Green flag is out here at Watkins Glen International. As let's see do we go bowling into turn 1 as Abner Acosta's up through the gears. He's got drivers all over him. Paul Hill trying to maybe take a shot here for the lead. He gets a little bit slow on the exit, though. Now under fire from Brandon Pasalacqua.
And I don't think he's done yet. I think he's definitely going to try to get back on that horse and make one more run at it because he understands that this is the best lap chance that he's going to have to do it.
What a move, though. I mean, he was side-by-side, door-to-door with Abner, and it seemed like he had a very good entry to the corner. A little bit of a lockup there, though, I do believe, from Abner again into the braking zone. And that's what Paul's talking about.
We had one off in the bus stop there.
And that's Kenny Powell. Powell with some issues, falling down through the field.
I think you were being a little bit
as well.
Yeah, Randy, I think, blew the entrance, but Powell definitely blew the corner. I think you were being a little bit predictive when you said that Powell was going to be the lap traffic.
I was just kidding. I said that under commercial. What are you saying?
Yeah. Challenge accepted.
Oh, man. Yeah, now I'm fired. I've lost my commentating job here. But, yeah, I think we're getting ready to find out exactly what happened to Powell. You see Powell's right there racing with Clayton Hoffman. And I think he's just kind of running on the bottom here. So let's see exactly what did happen. Yeah, I think Powell just locked him up on the entry. He was side by side with Jay Hone. It's kind of a scary moment there. But I don't think anybody really got any much damage. Just really the biggest damage is the loss of positions.
That's that pressure we're talking about.
Oh, I do want to go back to the front, though. Paul Hill has gotten passed by none other than Brandon Pasalacqua. The 6 machine has now taken second place. As I do believe we're having I think we just saw Matthew Cisna have an issue, went off the racetrack. But yeah, Abner Acosta's out to 1.5 seconds right now. But Brandon was like running in 4th for a lot of that last stage. Now he's up to 2nd. We know he's a very capable road course racer. Can he make something happen? Can he maybe be the one that can possibly unseat the leader, Abner Acosta?
Yeah, and I think Paul kind of like spoke of his own demise there, because exactly what he was hoping happened, it did happen, but it gave Acosta the advantage, and he now fell back into the pack.
We're seeing J.C. Evans having some issues on pit road. Yeah. Not sure exactly what was going on there. I think it was based on that same incident, possibly. You see Matthew Cisna having a rough week. And Cisna, the thing is, really good stage 1. Cisna was running really well in stage 1, so I'm not sure what's going on right now for the 11.
Unfortunately, we got to put all of them together in order to see how it kind of stacks up. But yeah, you're absolutely right. But, like I said, man, this is one of those tracks where if it's off, you're just off. And with all of the turns that you have to, each turn sets up for the next turn. So you got to be in a rhythm.
Yeah, I think, Cisna just had he's got damage. That damage kind of messed up his corners. It's messing up the way that car's handling. And, it just seems like it's hard for him to adapt to that. I do want to mention that Cisna and J.C. Evans are both now 1 lap down, so they have joined the lap traffic. And to be honest, this stage is flying right on by. Big Al, we only have, I do believe, coming this time by 4 laps to go.
Oh yeah, look at that. 4 laps to go.
Very short stage. Very short stage.
And you best believe, last time there was some faking and some taking, but this time everybody, the majority of everybody is coming down pit road. And they're only taking 4 tires, and they be getting a whole bag of gas, Brian. So the guys are going to have to make certain that they got to get caught up to the field in order to get down the pit road.
Looks like we have another replay here. And I do want to talk about the fuel strategy, the pit strategy, because that's something I think we should look at. Is I do believe we're seeing the 61. I think that's Connor Banks maybe having an issue here. Just a loose spell coming into the corner. He kind of just overdrives the entry. And so, I mean, this could be a lot worse than it is. No damage. Damage just to the tires. But kind of going back to what I was talking about, when it comes to, we saw a lot of the field stay out on that last caution. We saw some drivers come down pit road. I know Matt DeCiani was one. He popped down pit road. He took some fuel. I think that's the big deal, Big Al, is we've seen it at times past at the road courses to where Matt DeCiani and some other drivers will kind of play a little bit of a strategy to where they'll take fuel for stage 1 while everybody else stays out, and that allows them to get off of pit road faster.
Well, I don't really buy into that whole tire deficient degradation thing, because literally 2 laps ago, Abner Acosta ran his fastest lap of the race at a 1.10.673. His last lap was a 1:10.749. So he's still running sub 11 laps, but
and
it's only
he hasn't changed tires, and he hasn't changed the set yet. That's an interesting point, Big Al. I'm glad you pointed that out.
Yeah, but it's only 2 drivers running sub 111s, and that's Paul and
Abner. So that's weird that, so some drivers, I guess, are burning them up a little bit and are running a little bit slower, while others aren't. Here comes somebody undercutting the pit stop here. I think that is Patrick Gitter and Matt DeCiani.
Yeah, Gitter has nothing to lose at this point.
Yeah,
okay,
most of these guys. Both of these guys doing it. They're both trying to undercut the stage so that way, as soon as the caution comes out and everybody else comes down pit road, they stay out and they gain all this track position.
Yeah, exactly. And the difference between, DeCiani and Gitter doing it is these guys have already demonstrated the speed to be up front. So that's a whole entirely different vessel. Say, if I were to do it, I'd just be up there holding up traffic. These guys, different story. You know, both of these guys
Yeah,
are
for
locomotive.
sure. Yeah, no, they're fast enough to keep the position. I mean, Matt DeCiani has done this successfully multiple times. I've seen him win races by pulling strategies like this. So,
Okay, so-
no, I definitely think it's possible that he's going to go to the front. He's probably going to stay there. But I mean, but then again, I mean, a guy like Abner, or Brandon Pasalagua, they're not just going to sit behind Matt. But I mean, it's still going. That's why I think it's going to be a little bit of a battle. It's going to be a battle.
You know, there's going to be a lot of dynamics that are going to take place in stage 3 that we have not yet uncovered. So, you know, a lot of things are already starting to shake themselves out. But it's going to be a little bit more pressure for Abner because he's probably not going to start off stage 3 in the lead. And for this first time tonight, he's going to be behind the 8 ball, brother. And sometimes that proves to be extremely problematic.
And we know how these cars, they don't handle as well when you're in the draft. When you're in the dirty air, they just don't seem to handle as well. And I think that's what we're going to see with Abner. Abner has been in clean air all race long. Every bit of this race, he has been out front. And as soon as he gets behind someone else, that changes the handling of the race car. It looks like we got Greg Wachinski. He's popping down pit road. He's going to do exactly the same gamble. This is going to give him a lot of track position. So we'll see what he can do with that.
You know, don't forget, last week he came home on the podium at the end of that thing. So, yeah, so he understands that he is in the playoffs, and I think he is definitely wanting to go to the next round. I don't think he just wants to be one and done, and that's going to be a big difference too because it's about your mindset. You got to have a winner's mentality to actually win, and this comes down to the strategy of all of these guys that are out there running because you know, each team has a strategy, and we're getting ready to see it shake up, and we're going to see how some of those strategies unfold. Because no matter what happens, we're not going to see a caution in this thing, except for the one that's getting ready to occur at the end of this lap.
Yeah, and also I don't think these guys are going to need to fuel up again. I think we're going to see these guys probably run the rest of the race. So if Abner clearly has been able to maintain his tires, even though we see smoke coming from that car sometimes, clearly it doesn't matter. He's the fastest car on the racetrack still.
Oh, yeah.
But what does he do when he's got other drivers in front of him? That's going to be the difference.
Yeah. Until that very effect, Paul Hill, Abner Acosta, the only 2 drivers on the preceding lap that were sub 111.
Yeah, for sure. Paul Hill was a little bit quicker than Abner that last time by. We should see the caution come out here very, very soon as Abner Acosta, of course, he starts lap 25. I think we got to wait for the 10th place car to cross the start-finish line, I do believe, which would be Jay Hone. Really good run for Jay Hone here so far in the 19. As he crosses the start-finish line, I think we should see. There it is. Yellow flag is out. Abner Acosta, your Stage 2 winner. He sweeps both Stage 1 and Stage 2. Going to be some really good playoff points for that driver. Brandon Pasalagua finishes 2nd. Paul Hill 3rd. Josh Schaffner in 4th. Brian Johnson 5th. Randy Mullins in 6th. Tim Mortman Jr. in 7th, Clayton Hoffman 8th, Jose Acosta 9th, Jay Hone in 10th. We'll go ahead and take a step away. We'll come right back, and we'll talk to whoever Big Al decides he wants to talk to. We'll see you in a minute.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Advance Auto Parts trains our staff to get to the right part even faster. Not bad. The parts you need, even faster. Advance Auto Parts. Service is our best part. Next!
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the ISCA Super Cup Series. As of course, we're at Watkins Glen for the Advanced Auto Parts 136, I do believe it is. Of course, we're going to go ahead and talk with Patrick Gitter into 21. Big Al standing by.
Patrick Gitter, Big Al up in the booth. You got me.
Yes, sir. I got you.
Hey, we usually wouldn't be talking under these circumstances, but tonight I do believe that you're in the right spot. So, what happened there on that first couple laps to us, boss?
Yeah, I started out in qualifying with a set that I ended up feeling like was a little bit tighter than I wanted. So we adjusted on the car, changed it up a little bit, and went into turn that second turn, the right-hander up the S's, and the car just didn't agree with the pace I wanted to run that early. It was just a product of cold tires and then being on a little bit looser car that I just had made a last-second adjustment to. So, apologies to the guys that may have gotten caught up in that or disrupted or what have you. But now that I got the wheels up under it, seems like it just takes a couple laps to get the tires warmed up, get the car comfortable. But I think it's in pretty good shape now.
Did this actually play into your strategy? Because now you find yourself in a position that you're up front again, and by God, I do believe you're going to stay there. But so is this something that you planned shortly after that, or is this just luck?
A little bit of both. I mean, part of it's kind of a strategy call. Some of it's luck. I mean, I was at the back anyway, so I was trying to get some position, but I knew I had to fix damage after that first stage. So at that point, it was just kind of biding time, trying to keep the car clean, and make it to where we're at now here, the end of the stage 2.
Yeah, so obviously you're feeling pretty good with the setup that you have now. Just kind of wondering, because you said that after you had a setup that you weren't comfortable with, so you got those bugs sorted out, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think it was just a product, honestly, of maybe a little bit cooler track, and just really kind of getting a sense of what the car needed for slightly different temps and things like that. So, I think we got it under us now. I think we're in pretty good shape here to give it a good run here at the end.
All right, boss. Well, we're going to let you get back to it. Good luck to you here in your endeavors to try to put that thing on the podium for the end of this thing. Anybody want to shout out for your endeavors of the week?
Yeah, man. Team Conti Sim Performance, teammates Matt, Paul, the rest of the guys over there that make it happen week to week. Johan Semenio Designs, Martin PC, and certainly you guys in the booth, and Kenny for running the league.
Hey, appreciate you, boss. Hopefully we'll see you up here soon.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
All right, that was Patrick Gitter, driver of the 21 machine. Definitely glad to see him back up in the top 5. Hopefully he's able to stay there, and definitely exactly what we kind of thought. We thought he, had kind of messed up with the cold tires, but it seems like he's gotten a lot more comfortable behind the race car. Now, I'm just curious, what is this going to look like? Looks like we got a delay green. Not sure what's going on here. Looks like we're going to be delaying it just a bit.
That's a lot of bit on a track like this. If the green is delayed, then that means unless they give us the one to go again, but I don't know if that's going to happen.
No, I definitely think we're going to pace one more lap now. So I'm not sure exactly why that is the case. Maybe some driver just was not able to get caught up to the rest of the field, or that could have maybe have something to do with it. But of course, Matt DeCiani at the front of the field, and anytime I've seen Matt in this sort of position, a lot of times he wins the race. A lot of times when Matt gets to the front of the field at the end of these things, at the last stage, he stays there. I want to talk about Abner Clayton, though. Clayton made a big play on pit road, did not take tire. Spent 6 seconds in his box.
Yeah, maybe he's really under the adage that didn't need tires, or Clayton did pit on the last iteration, so that might have been when he took tires. You know what I mean? Under the understanding.
Well, the last time he pitted, I don't think he took. I think he might have took 2. Because from what I recall, he was one of the guys that came down that like Indeed you said, yeah. But he didn't take the full stop. I think he just took either 2 tires or just fuel. So I don't know. Some of these guys have not had too bad a tire wear. Some of these guys have. Clayton has not been stellar when it comes to speed here tonight. The guy that he's got right, close to him behind him, Abner is the fastest by far, minute 10.6. Greg Wyszynski, another kind of unknown factor who's up in the top 3 or starting in the top 3. He took another strategy as well to get up here. We saw him short pit the stage. He is hitting a minute 12.220, which that's a fast lap for me. That's real fast. But for the guys that are around him, that's slow. That's going to be, and that's just going to be more obstacles that these guys are going to have to deal with. Now, I don't want to say Greg's an obstacle. I know he's just doing what he thinks he needs to do to try to get as many points as he can. Like you said, he wants to win a championship. He wants to move on to the next round of the playoffs. So you can't blame these guys for making these decisions. But it's just going to make more obstacles for the guys around.
The decisions have consequences. So, with it being so difficult, you got to get around Greg first. And I'm just going to be honest. And unfortunately for Abner, he's kind of stuck between a pickle and a brick. Clayton's in a good spot, but it's going to be a feat for everybody that's behind Greg, because you're right. Even his best qualifying lap was 112. I'm not knocking Greg Wyszynski at all. Greg, we love you, but when you're up front, you really gotta lead the pace. It's just gonna.
And here we go, though. We're getting ready to find out what's going to happen. Green flag is out as we start stage number 3. And already we see Matt DeCiani going up to the top of the track, trying to arc the corner the best he can. Greg into the rear end, a little bit of, and Abner's going to get turned into the inside wall. No caution is going to save him. That destroys Abner's race.
We're still wrecking. Bender's wrecking. Guys, we're tearing cars up left and right back here.
This is not good.
It's kind of what we were talking about.
Bad shape. Nick King has got some severe damage. Broken toe link. There's a lot to unpack. I think we should look at the start here with Greg Wyszynski and Abner Acosta, if we can. We're still wrecking. There's Bender right there. We see that.
So we got Brandon Pasalacqua has had his black flag cleared, but we got Nick King and Jeffrey Souza that have, definitely significant damage. Not to mention all of the cars that were involved in this, because this is going to have rippling effects, Brian, because guess what we're going to happen right now? That's going to make us catching up to that lap traffic so much quicker.
Oh, 100%. I don't know if we can look at that, though. I feel like Abner, with that way, we got to see this, what happened here.
Abner lost tremendous positions because he couldn't.
Greg
had a bad start. Well, Greg had a really, really bad start, so the outside line just launched.
I
Yeah,
mean,
we can go back to that
I'd love it
restart
if we
and
could
see.
see that, because I mean, I feel like
Watch
that is the
Waczynski.
catalyst that started everything.
Watch Waczynski get a bad start. Now you see that's where they're bottled up, and that's going to cause everybody on the outside to come up and go by Abner, and he just never recovers from that at this point.
See, I was gonna put this on Greg, but to be honest, this is on Paul Hill.
Well, that part's
Paul
on
kind
Abner.
of just.
Abner
But
just
well, you-
over-rotated.
Well, I'm just saying, like, I would, initially I think we were putting that on Greg. I think this is more of an, okay, I shouldn't have said maybe I put this on Paul Hill. I would say this is an incident between Paul Hill and Abner Acosta.
Here's all I'm going to say about it, and then I think we just go ahead and shoot the little brick in the head and be done with it. But, Greg did not get a start to be on up front in the top 5. He got a mid to backpack start, and the results were catastrophic. So yeah, we should send Greg Waczynski to bill for all of that. And I love you, Greg.
I don't know. I don't think we should. See,
I
I disagree. I understand what you're saying, but I feel like that was more of an incident between.
I'm saying it. I know. I'm just saying it from the perspective of an analyst. If we just go back to root cause analysis and peel the onion all the way back, this is what I believe you have to face the facts on. We even talked about it before it happened. It was the one thing that we were concerned about concerning the restart of the race. And it wasn't just Greg Waczynski. We talked about specifically when you get up here, you got to be up here.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, the dice have been rolled. It has settled on, what the results are. And it absolutely has taken Abner Acosta's ability to win this race away. Like, he is now back in 14th. He was the dominator of the event. It's really unfortunate for him, I got to say. I mean, I feel bad for him. But then again, it has also opened the door for someone else to maybe lock themselves into the playoffs, such as a Matt DeCiani, who is right now second and a half out front of Patrick Gitter. Now, Clayton Hoffman, he is kind of reeling in Gitter at the moment. Could he possibly take that second place position away? Paul Hill was, I think, the fastest car besides, I think, Abner Acosta. Can Paul maybe make up 3 seconds and get up here and battle with Matt and maybe win himself? It's possible.
I mean, I'm just sitting here and I'm looking at these lap times now, and it's almost like, where's Waldo? What's really going on? Guys, bring me back my sub 111s.
No, I'm definitely curious on why that has changed. That is definitely interesting. But the 111s, the sub 111s, Paul Hill's doing that. No one else except for him and Matt DeCiani essentially are hitting the 111 sub 111s.
Yeah, true, man. True words have never been spoken. And you'd think we'd kind of be back up to peak at some of the fastest lap times because, everybody just got fresh Goodyears and they've had those 2 laps that they need to kind of warm them up. We're just kind of wondering, we're just sitting here, Brian, at this point, we're just like, man, I don't know if it's a steer or a mare or what.
Yeah.
A steer and a mare aren't the same type of animals. I know that, people. I'm just saying we're all genetically confused over here.
Brandon Passalagro is turning some really fast laps. I'll tell you, that's just that opening start really just caused a catastrophe when it comes to this race. I mean, that really, all race long, stage 1 restart, perfectly fine. Stage 2 restart, perfectly fine. We didn't see anybody mess up really except for maybe Gitter. That was probably the most dramatic restart of this race.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's the reason why they make us do the restarts, and that's why they make us run all of the laps, because the fun and the excitement is in between the flags. You know what I mean? That's just what we got to go with. And like you said, this is proven to be a truly exciting event here tonight. There's no other way to say it, man. I mean, some guys just really haven't fared too well, but some guys, they're just out there getting it done. Talk about look at Gitters. Look at his trip back. Talk about a battle of adversity. And Clayton Hoffman, he's up in the top 3. These are 2 guys that, we hadn't even really mentioned Clayton, except for the fact that he wasn't in the top 3. And then guess
I
what?
feel like Clayton has not been impressive. He has not had an impressive showing, but now you look at stage 3 and it's a completely different picture. Clayton's in third. I mean, he's hanging on to it. He's being battled right now by Paul Hill, but Paul Hill has got right front damage, and I think that's maybe he's still fast. Like Paul is still fast, but I'm seeing a little bit of some crinkling on that right front, and that could be affecting that race car. I noticed whenever he's in the draft of Clayton right now, he's not getting the downforce, the air on that nose. I think that he really needs to make that car handle like he needs to. But he's all over the back of the 92 right now. But if Clayton can hold on to this third, this would be a really good day for him. I mean, he's had a quiet, mediocre day. This would make this day very successful, considering just the way Atlanta looked for him.
Yeah, absolutely. He's still got plenty of time to turn it around. But it's a big difference between, being in front or being in a situation that Clayton finds himself in, because Clayton is having to do two things. He's having to negotiate his turns, but he's still having to play defense at the same time, because he knows what you know, and that is that Paul Hill is actually faster than he is. So he has got to make his car wide as well as turn fast.
Oh, and there he goes. He goes wide, and he's going to give that position up. I think just the pressure was just too much.
It's the pressure.
Right there.
The pressure does two things, Brian. It bursts pipes and it builds diamonds.
Well, Paul Hill now back up into third place position, as well as Passalacqua was able to get by as well. Now, Brandon has been really, really fast, and I think that he's got a good race car. He doesn't really have to worry about saving fuel. I know a lot of times that's Brandon, whenever we talk about his weakness at road courses, it's not speed. It's not speed. That's never the weakness for Brandon Passalacqua. It is always trying to save gas. He never is able to do it as well as some drivers like Matt DeCiani. He's got the speed. Can maybe Brandon put the rubber down to the road and maybe catch up here and maybe get back up into the top 3? I think it's definitely a possibility. I think we'll see a battle between him and Paul Hill.
You're gonna see a battle that you've never seen, because as this thing progresses, a couple of different things are happening. We're making a 7-layer burrito here, right? A 7-layer dip, whatever the hell you want to call it. I don't know. But the first layer of that is you've got the lead packed cars. And Matt DeCiani right now, he should be running the fastest lap times, because he has no one interfering with his ability to negotiate his entrances and his exits, and that's very important, right? He's got plenty of breathing room. But Brian, just ahead of these guys, we know what they don't know, and that is they're going to run into traffic. And when that happens, DeCiani is no longer in that clean air. And we've seen what happens when you put these cars back in that air together. And I think we got enough lap traffic before this thing is done that it's really going to play a factor. Tough track to pass that.
Yeah, I mean, we heard that from Paul Hill. It's very difficult to pass at this racetrack. And of course, the lap traffic that you're going to encounter is probably going to be a lot slower than you are, which is a good thing, to where you will be able to pass them. But depending on where you catch them. And that's the thing. Even in the ISCA, in the past, traditionally, historically, we've seen accidents happen coming through the S's. That's where you do not want to catch another driver. If you catch a lap car coming through the S's, you might as well just wait, because you're not going to be able to pass them safely. A lot of times things go wrong when you try to pass someone through the S's, and that's something I'm really worried about. So it's all going to be about where do you catch that person. That's what it's going to be. That's where the damage and danger could happen here. As, of course, I just saw Josh Schaffner make the pass on Tim Wortman Jr. up to 6th place. Now we see, of course, Brian Johnson. He's trying to catch up to Tim Wortman as well to make that pass to move up to 7th. I do want to kind of talk about Abner. He has slowly but surely worked his way back up into contention, not for the win, but at least for some points. He's in 11th right now, closing in on Jay Hone. Speed-wise, Abner doesn't look too bad, but if you look at that front nose, I mean, he's got a lot of damage. Shocking that he's able to kind of still keep that car going as fast as it is.
Well, it's not really aero dependent here, as long as the pieces that are under the nose are kind of intact and connected to each other. But when you start bending them in weird ways and they lose kind of contact with each other, that's when you just get a really crappy handling car. And we got a lot of drivers out there
right there.
always.
That's the same kind of damage on Jose Medina. It looks like we got a replay dialed up here, and this might be Jose. We'll see exactly what happened. Looks like maybe he's already got the damage at this point. But I think something else, maybe, yep, he just loses it coming into the chicane here. The bus stop, as they call it.
Gotta hold your mouth right.
You definitely do. He's going to be wanting some Nicorette gum after that one.
What you got me?
His paint scheme's got his Nicorette. You know, the nicotine gum.
Oh, you got one in the wall. It's not gonna be good. Don't know who it is. This is
That Jay Hone, maybe? No, Jay Hone is in the midst of a battle, though. A little bit of a lockup, though. We see Abner Acosta gets back up into the top 10. Who got into the wall?
It was right before start-finish time.
And he did have a slow lap last time by Brian Johnson, I think is who maybe had an issue. Last time by, he had a minute 16.9, which is way off the pace.
Paradigm
So I'm
driver.
assuming. Yeah, I'm assuming. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Look at that. Ooh, he drifting it. Drifting it. Boom. That is a
In
hit.
hard contact.
That's a big one there. And I'm surprised that car doesn't look like he's got any damage. But the way that hit looks, I mean, he should be. That almost should have broken the toe link with the way that hit was.
It definitely should have snapped the rim at a minimum. I mean, that was severe. That was significant contact with the left rear of that car.
Look at this. Paul Hill making the pass on Patrick Gitter. Hill now up to second place. As, of course, Matt DeCiani has about 2.7 seconds on Paul Hill at the moment. Brandon Pasalacqua quickly catching up to the rear end of the 21.
Now, that's really not going to fare too well for that DeCiani, because the one thing that I think he really wanted in order for him to be to have a greater percentage of a chance to be successful was to keep Hill at bay. Now that Hill's gotten past Gitter, and now he's got his sights set on DeCiani, and unfortunately, DeCiani is going to have traffic coming up in his front windshield.
It really just depends. What does Paul Hill's lap look like? Can he be substantially faster than DeCiani? That's going to be the key. I mean, if he is hitting the same laps that DeCiani is, it doesn't matter. That DeCiani is just going to continue to maintain a 2.8 second gap. That's what he's got right now. I am seeing that Paul is cutting down into that gap. So it really just depends on how much faster a lap is Paul. It's going to all be about the math. And one thing about it, even if he does catch Matt, we saw Paul sit behind Abner for 12 laps. He could not pass him. That might be the same thing here, too, to where he can't pass Matt.
He might sit behind him for 12 laps because we have 15 left.
Yeah. But, I mean, you get what I'm saying. It's hard to pass. It's clearly hard to pass.
And we're talking about, all I'm saying is we're talking about playoffs. And that's a whole different level of drivability, especially at the end of a race. I mean, you got a race to win this thing.
Yeah, 100%. No, you got to do what you got to do. I mean,
yes. What I'm saying is Hill's not catching DeCiani because he wants to date him. He's not, chasing him because he's cute. He's chasing him because he wants to pass him.
Yeah, 100%. That's exactly right. Yeah, Paul definitely wants to pass him. And the speed is there. I think Paul's got the speed. I mean, a minute 11.182 versus a minute 11.363. I mean, he's about 2/10 faster. Let's see, if he can continue to maintain that. Yeah, no, it's just going to be, can he consistently maintain it? I think Paul can. I mean, Paul has clearly shown he's fast on the longer run, too.
Well, but
I'm watching this battle.
First challenge, because DeCiani is actually running up on lap traffic right now.
That's a good point. Also, we got, Patrick Gitter and Brandon Pasalacqua. They're in the heated battle right now. Patrick, and I think this is, ooh, look at this. Yeah, you could tell Brandon is like, you ain't holding me up. I'm getting by you no matter what.
Yeah, Brandon, and I think And I think that Gitter was so focused on DeCiani that he didn't realize that he had a Passalaqua problem. And right now, it's just like that when he jumped all over the back of Clayton Hoffman. I mean, there's only one way to get that hood off your back.
Well, that's the thing is I think, I hate to say this, but I think Patrick doesn't want to let Passalaqua go because he knows that if I let Passalaqua go, Passalaqua going to get up maybe to Paul Hill.
Ooh, smoked it.
And it's like it's team strategy. Patrick does not want to let Passalaqua go try to fight with his teammates. So that's why he's racing him so hard. And I guarantee you Passalaqua is probably not liking it very much. But that's just kind of the name of the game. You see that a lot. If you can hold up Passalaqua just a little bit longer, the chances of Passalaqua going and attacking a Paul Hill lessens.
Like you said earlier, you called it. You said that Brandon could just go out there and have a fun race. Well, don't think that Brandon's the only one that knows that. Everybody out there knows that Brandon's made it. So the last thing that you're going to do is let him go by. I mean, yeah, I'd make it as wide as it needed to be, but that pass won't happen.
Also, I would kind of keep it in mind that, he has made it to the next round guaranteed. So he can kind of do, if you make him mad enough, he can just turn you and it doesn't matter where he finishes. It doesn't matter where he finishes. He can kind of just throw, it don't matter. Like I could just send you and, I'll be fine. I'll be fine. I'm moving on to the next round. Are you? Are you moving to the next round?
Yeah. Choices have consequences.
We got a replay, though. Going to be pulling up. Looks like Randy Drumhiller possibly with some issues. He's had a little bit of a rough day here, Randy. Let's see exactly what happened this time. As he's going to he just gets loose. Ooh, yeah, that could have been a lot.
And look, the thing about it is you got to look at the guys that are passing him after he comes out of his contact with the wall, and those would be the leaders. I mean, so now you're in that part of the race where, look, even more chaos there because you got Josh Schaffner and he's battling Clayton Hoffman right there, and these two get really close as they come by Drumhiller. So lap traffic, and it's nothing on the lap traffic, guys. It's already playing a factor into this thing.
I mean, and what happens if let's say that had happened right when the leaders were right there. That would have taken out some drivers. There would have been some consequences for that, and they wouldn't have even, it wouldn't have been their fault. They were just in the wrong place at the wrong time. So I mean, that's the bad thing about road course racing with the caution not coming out.
Brandon gets by. Now he's going to be running now, and so hopefully, Gitter can just focus on following Brandon Passalaqua and they can reel DeCiani in.
I just want to point out, remember I was talking about how Patrick was holding up Passalaqua so he could not battle with his teammates. The consequences of that have been dire. Brandon Passalaqua is now 2.6 seconds back from Paul Hill. That is a lot. Because he's had to fight with Patrick Gitter, he lost a lot of ground to where he's going to have to, like you said, he's going to have to drive that car like he stole it in order to catch up to Paul Hill.
Yeah, and doesn't that suck? And so if you just look at that, I mean, was it intentional? No, it was racing, and that's what you have to do when you're racing, so you can't really fault the guy. But now you got all of these guys coming up behind, and it looks like we're going to have another Abner Acosta issue. And once again, Abner's finding himself in a hole, so he's literally got to drive the tires off of this thing. And he knows it. He's feeling that pressure.
Oh, and he
takes a bad bop.
That's unfortunate for Abner. He's day. I mean, and this is the track. I guarantee Abner had this racetrack circled on his calendar. He's like,
yeah,
and for it to go this poorly, and for it to go this poorly for him has got to be just, man. I feel bad for the guy because I mean this is a track that on paper Abner should win. Like,
just imagine though the smiles on Wachinski's face, right? Because he's gonna go home tonight, and in worst case scenario, he beat and bested Abner Acosta at this racetrack. So, kudos to him. 10 laps to go, though. We still got to try to figure out who's going to win this thing because the leader is just getting more and more into lap traffic. And not just the leader. I mean, as he gets by him, The people behind him are going to have to get by him. And it's going to be, man, we're going to make ourselves a nice old bowl of soup.
Well, I mean, also look at the lap times. The lap times have changed quite considerably as well as this run has gone on. We see Matt DeCiani hitting a minute 11.9s. We see, Paul Hill minute 11.6. So these guys are slowing down. And it looks like we got some pit road, some guys on pit road. I do believe some drive-through. Maybe this could be possibly because of too many incident points.
And that's a bad place to be because we've all been there as well, But, the good thing is you get to just do a drive-through, wave at your boys, get back out there to go make some more noise. 9 laps to go,
Stop,
man.
and hopefully they might put some ice cream through the window, right?
Well, I don't think you can make contact. It's not a conjugal. It's more
there's
like
lap traffic all over the place, though. We see, like, Alexander Carr kind of holding up a little bit of Josh Schaffner, but it looks like Josh is going to get by just fine. Josh has been one of the more – he's really impressing me here tonight. He's the fastest car on the racetrack right now. Minute 11.4 last time by. He's quickly – he's fast. He's sporty.
That's a pretty solid pace. And you know what? A top 5 at a road course? Who you kidding? That's like winning the dang thing. Because, like you said, Abner, this was his best shot at clinching that playoff win. And let's just be honest about it. He should have been the favorite to win this thing, but he just kind of dealt himself out of the game, essentially. And that's just unfortunate.
And a lot of that come down to the strategy. I mean, these guys played these strategy cards that put, it just put Abner, he played the wrong strategy. I would want to be in front. And the thing is the strategy he played put him behind guys. And that was apparently not the play.
I don't think he had a choice because, he didn't know that those guys were going to short pit it. You know what I mean? It always happens, but, I don't think he just realized that it was going to be so quick.
He didn't think it would be to his detriment
and he's
so bad as
conservative.
well.
He was probably trying to get the heck out of the way as well, you know what I mean? But it's just kind of like once you start falling down the steps, the hardest thing to do is to stop falling down the steps.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, once one thing happens badly in your night, he had fought his way back up into the top 10. What an impressive, accolade to be able to do that, accomplishment. But then, he gets up to Greg Wyszynski and then wrecks again. And it's just like, like you said, he kind of had already started falling down the steps. And when stuff like that happens, it puts you in a bad mood and it makes it more likely that you're going to make more mistakes.
Yes, sir.
But Brandon Passalacqua, he's been really reeling in Paul Hill last couple laps. Last time, I think he was about 0.3 faster than Hill. As well as the gap between Hill and DeCiani has closed in a little bit, 1.7 seconds between those two. And you see DeCiani is catching up to some more lap traffic. I do believe that is the 9 of J.C. Evans. JC's got a little bit of a different paint scheme. Usually we see him in a little bit of a black scheme. Coming up, I do believe now 6 laps to go.
He can drive in the pace car, so let's go get sporty, boys.
We're now 6 laps to go here at Watkins Glen. Does Paul Hill have enough time? It just really depends on the lap car. It really depends on these lap cars. He caught him on the entry to the S's. That wasn't the worst place, but look at the amount of time he lost just catching him on the entry to the S's. And now we see Paul having to deal with J.C. Evans in the middle of the S's. So, this costs a lot of time having to catch these guys at the wrong place. As we see now, Passalacqua going to have to encounter J.C. Evans.
Yeah,
you know what I'm excited for? We got Bristol next week.
I thought you were going to say you're excited for Thanksgiving or Halloween.
No, we got Bristol. Bristol Motor Speedway coming up, going from a road course to the last great Coliseum. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, and also, mark this, will be the last time Bristol has 2 races on the docket. So this night race at Bristol this year, remember the last 2 years we were actually on the dirt. Back to the pavement, the concrete I guess you'd call it, but yeah, this will be the last night race at Bristol.
Are you for
Are,
like.
are they? Yeah, they're losing one of their 2 slots. I don't know if they're
Yeah, but
losing
they might
the
get it
early
back.
race.
I mean,
It's kind of hard to do that now, buddy.
well, I mean, Darlington only had one night, and now they went back to 2.
It's a big difference between Darlington right now and Bristol. There was a time where Bristol, it'd be sold out years in advance. Now, they can't sell out a race at the time.
Yeah, I don't understand it because Bristol is like a bucket list race for me. Like, I want to go to a Bristol race so bad.
Well, I guess that bucket had 2 holes in it for some people.
But here we go. Coming up now to 4 laps to go. Matt DeCiani has 1.2 seconds on Paul Hill. Brandon Pasalacqua, I think a little bit of the heat has drained out of that race car as he has kind of stagnated on his charge to catch up to Paul Hill. But he really hasn't stagnated very much on Matt DeCiani. DeCiani, last time by, was about a half a second slower than Hill. If that keeps up, there is a chance that possibly, well, now that chance is starting to dwindle a little bit, just considering DeCiani. I think what caused him to have that half a second loss was the encountering of J.C. Evans.
Well, he's got Matt Bender coming up, and that, hopefully he'll catch Matt
Bender,
just at the right time. I mean, Bender.
John Bender?
John
Yeah, I got
Bender.
you.
I didn't mess his last name up. I just messed up. He could be John Matthew. What the hell?
Who knows? Oh, Paul getting really loose to the. He's going to get a slowdown penalty. He just blew through the bus stop and had to go through the grass. He's going to definitely any chances that he had, I do believe, to win this race, it just went out the door.
That's how to get you.
I mean, he might still have a chance, but he definitely had to. He lost a little bit of time because of that. Oh, that car is looking like really loose. He's having a tough time. And this is only fueling the fire for Pasalacqua. Can Pasalacqua get up here and maybe take over second place?
I mean, I honestly, I guess the question of the night is going to be, how bad was the handling of these cars once we got down to the wire? I mean, earlier on, it seemed like everybody had it figured out, but now
Josh Schaffner, who was running in the top 5, apparently has had a massive issue.
Oh, he had some help.
We're catching
like he
it.
had
We're
contact.
catching it towards the end of it. We're going to have to look back. I think something else happened here. So we see Josh right here. He's going to be coming into, I do believe.
There's a car. Who is that?
And he comes up on Jose Medina.
Medina.
And this absolutely just killed
Wait,
Josh's race. We got to watch Jose. How
Yeah,
did
because
he
Jose
end up
was all
there?
he was all the way up in the corner a long time ago. You could see it when
this is
Schaffner
definitely
comes
not.
out of the S's.
So Jose definitely not getting any good cool points for this.
No coin for you, Jose.
I hate it too. Jose, a nice guy, Jose Medina, and he loses it in the bus stop here.
And you could see that from Schaffner's angle.
And he should have. The only thing, this is an on-track awareness issue. This is a track awareness issue. He should have knew Schaffner was coming. And right, he had plenty of time. Like, he had it all correct.
He
It was
did the
good
right
to go.
thing.
Went.
Yeah,
Then he went through the grass.
I think he did it all right.
I
think he did it all right, Brian. But the problem is once he actually came back, he actually went in the grass and accelerated and lost control.
That's so unfortunate for Josh. Josh, fantastic run. I guarantee you that there's
Is
going to
Jose in the playoffs?
I don't believe so. No, sir, he's not.
Josh is.
Josh is, and here it is. The battle is on right now. We're coming up to the white flag, and DeCiani has been caught by Paul Hill as well as Pasalacqua. They are all right on top of each other. We don't know who's going to win this race. This could change in a moment's notice.
We just got to see how long it takes.
We do got to mention also, DeCiani short pitted the stage. He might not have enough gas. It might be close on fuel.
You know who's in front of these guys right now, right?
Probably Kenny Powell.
Kenny Powell.
I just guessed that. I just guessed. because I just knew
You
that that's.
prophesized it.
Can DeCiani hold on? What are these guys willing to do? It's a playoff spot in the round of 12. There's Matt DeCiani coming through the carousel.
Run, Kenny, run!
Kenny does not want to be called the most dangerous lap car again. I guarantee you that. But I don't think he was. I got to be honest. Jose in the 48 was the most dangerous lap car.
Yeah, Jose definitely gets a buckle for
Here we go. Look at that.
one.
Brandon trying to maybe bump Paul out of the way. Not quite able to do it. Matt DeCiani is going to win this race. And Matt DeCiani, your winner here tonight at Watkins Glen. And I told you, we talked about it earlier at the beginning of Stage 3. I said that if this guy gets the lead, it's going to be hard to take it from him. This is a guy that when you see Matt DeCiani in the lead in Stage 3, usually he wins the race. He's a road course. That's what he does. I mean, he's good at road courses. Patrick Gitter coming up to give him a congratulations. This is a big night for DeCiani.
Especially the fact that he now has the proverbial monkey off his back as well. He's to share in the graces of Brandon Passalacqua. These two guys are in. They won their way in. But Brian,
and think about it. We talked about Bristol. Bristol's a dramatic race, unpredictable.
absolutely.
Things can go wrong in a moment's notice. I want to go into Bristol knowing that I'm in the playoffs, the next round. And Matt has that. Matt has that.
Yeah, because you like you said, man, Bristol's one. It's a long night at Bristol. .com. That's all you get at Bristol is a long night.
Well, let's go down through the final running order here at Watkins Glen. I do believe everybody has finished. Of course, we see Matt coming through and doing like a little bit of a victory lap. Yeah, let's watch Matt do a burnout. Let's take that the results on for a second. Let's give him a chance to do some celebrating before we get into the result. We got to rate him on his. We've talked about doing that. I think Brandon got a terrible rating last week. It was 1 out of 10.
Ooh, Matt came in a little hard there.
Losing some points here.
Oh, he's going to block it up against the wall. Okay, we'll settle for that, but that's not what he was trying to do.
I don't know, man. I just feel like
I don't know if that gets a grade or not. Maybe they don't know. Maybe we need to tell the drivers. Drivers, we're going to start grading.
We got to inform them. We're going to inform him at the end of the interview.
And at the end of the race, at the end of the season, we'll get the best burnout score.
Yeah, because I don't think these guys know it's a competition.
Yeah,
we're gonna have to tell them.
Yeah, and if a driver's won more than once, we'll take the average. But yeah, that's.
Well, here he goes. Now he's gonna do a real burnout.
See, he did hear us.
Still, I think iRacing must have done something to the smoke generated by the tires. There's not a lot of smoke.
It was too much smoke though for a while, you know.
I like that though. I want it to be. I mean, in real life, it gets really smoky. It's like you can't even see.
Yeah, but I'm not judging him on his smoke. I'm judging him on his technique.
What do you think about the technique there? What's you rate him there, then?
Yeah, I mean, on a scale of 1 to 100, man, I'm gonna give him a solid 90 on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go. I'm 3 out of 10. I'm going 3 out of 10.
What the hell does that even mean?
That means you got a 3 out of 10.
You give him a 33. You're giving the man a 33%.
I'm giving him a 30 out of 100. If you wanted to use a 100 scale, 30 out of 100.
Wow.
Well, because I don't know, man. I just want to see the smoke, and I guess I can't blame him for that. But I mean, I'm going to blame him for that either way. But all right, let's go through the results. All right, Matt DeCiani, your winner here tonight. Definitely a awesome win there for him. He's always been a road course specialist, and he is going to continue that proven record. Paul Hill did nothing but impress here tonight. Finished second place. Brandon Passalacqua finished third. He was charging in on Paul here on the last lap. Patrick Gitter, who had a truly up and down day, finished fourth. Good on him. Clayton Hoffman finishes in 5th. Tim Wortman Jr. in 6th. Brian Johnson in 7th. Greg Wachinski, after staying out there, he still got a top 10. I mean, good on him. Randy Mullins finishes 9th. Jay Holm finishes 10th.
That's going to put Mark Sanchez on 11th with Jose Acosta in 12th. Kenny Powell rose his way across in 13th. John Bender meaning Fender, in 14th. Alexander Carr, 15th. Matt Sista's going to roll across in 16th. Connor Banks, 17th. Josh Schaffner, 18th. Randy Drumhiller is going to come across in 19th. And Jose Medina rounds out your top 20.
I had a little bit of a different running order there. I think my ATV is a little bit messed up, but I got J.C. Evans in 21st, Abner Acosta 22nd, Nick King 23rd, Jeffrey Souza 24th, and I do believe that was it. I do believe the rest of the drivers actually did not make the grid and run laps here tonight. That was Paul Olson, Greg Carr, and Kendall Levron. So that rounds out the 24 competitors that actually did compete in the race here tonight. And we're going to take a step away. We'll come back, and we'll talk to our top 3.
Training. It's how Advanced Auto Parts trains our staff to get you the right part even faster. Not bad. The parts you need, even faster. Advanced Auto Parts. Service is our best part. Next!
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the ISCA Super Cup Series. We just wrapped up the race here at Watkins Glen, and just in time, as it is getting dark out here on the racetrack. Of course, we're going to go ahead and talk to our third place finisher, Brandon Pasalacqua. Brandon, how are you? Do you read me?
I'm good, Brian. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. I mean, I witnessed a race that had some highs and had some lows. I mean, I shedded a tear. I mean, it was definitely a emotional race. How was it from your standpoint? I mean, you were kind of secure after Atlanta last week. What was the thought process coming into the night?
Just have a good run. I'm a big believer in momentum, and so if you can just click off top fives and get a lot of stage points, I just want to keep that momentum going. I could have definitely played a strategy that like Patrick and Matt, and probably put myself in a better spot. But I figured those guys might be better than me at saving fuel and taking care of their tires. So I figured the best way for me to have a good finish is to just send it every lap and come in at the last stage and take tires and everything. So it was a good race, had a lot of fun, and yeah, that's a lot of work getting around here.
Yeah, definitely. It seemed like you had some pretty good long run pace, though. I mean, you caught up to Paul Hill and were really putting a lot of pressure on him. I mean, if you had a couple more laps, do you think you could have got by him and Matt?
I don't know. Paul and I think we're pretty equal all race. We were battling early in the race, and then I think we both kind of had a couple misses at the beginning of the last stage where I passed him, and then I sent it off in the grass, and he passed me, and he took off. So I don't know if I had enough for Paul to make the pass. It's so hard to pass here. So and I think Matt has these road courses figured out and knows the exact right pace that he needs to run, and so I'm happy with third place, and kudos to Matt and Paul.
Now, of course, I do want to ask, kind of since you're on the same team with Paradigms, Josh Schaffner, can you relay anything you heard about from him? Because I mean, it was kind of a heartbreaker what happened to him. He was running in the top 5, unfortunately, got involved with a lap car.
Yeah. That's part of the territory when it comes to road racing, right? We do the IMSA stuff here and there, and we drive as a team, and we get caught in that stuff, and it's super frustrating. Obviously he's frustrated, to put it lightly, and yeah, it's tough. It's tough managing lap traffic. I do feel like this year we've had a little bit more of an issue with lap traffic in terms of just getting out of the way if you're off pace. So I will say that, but a lot of guys were great today letting us go. But I think as a league we can get better. We have an opportunity to get better there for sure. And yeah, it's tough. Playoffs, so you can have a good season all year, and then you get in the playoffs, you have one bad race, or you're one accident away from not making it to the next round. So that's the game we play, and we all signed up for it. So Josh will just have to send it at Bristol and hope to get good stage points, and hopefully get a good finish out of it.
Well, I mean, and that's such an unpredictable track. I mean, how good does it feel to go into Bristol and knowing that, hey, if something goes wrong, it's not the biggest deal?
Yeah. I mean, I'd still be kind of upset probably just because I'm competitive if something went wrong. But obviously, it's great to have the win and not have to worry about it. I think this round is super dangerous, even coming in, with a lot of playoff points. You're one wreck at Atlanta from being at the bottom of the standings, and Watkins Glen, you never know what could happen. So definitely a sense of relief going into Bristol, not having to worry about it. But again, like I said, momentum's huge, and hopefully we can have a decent run there.
All right. Well, who can we shout out after your third place finish?
Yeah, give a shout out to my boys at Paradigm, Josh, Randy, and Brian. Put in a bunch of work this week and last week with the setup. So it was good to see us all have pace. We definitely all got better as last week and this week went on. So it's good to see that. Shout out to OB Builders, Door and Trim, Ram Welding and Fabrication, Southern Spiral Pipe, you guys in the booth, Big Al, Brian, and Kobe. And then we appreciate everything Kenny does for the league.
All right. Well, thanks for your time, Brandon.
Awesome. Thanks, Brian. Take care.
Alrighty, that was Brandon Ponsalacqua, your third place finisher. Next up, Paul Hill is going to be sitting by with Big Al.
Paul Hill, Big Al in the booth. You got me.
I got you, Big Al.
Hey, well, hey, congratulations to you, brother, for bringing it home in P2. Probably not where you wanted to be tonight. I mean, you really needed to get it on the podium, but how does it feel, though, at least to get that P2?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of where I ran all night, was 1, 2, 3 kind of area. So to be expected. I got a little bit of damage on that restart, and it just really affected me long run. I was really fighting the car there those last 5 laps. So, shout out Matt. That was an awesome strategy call on his part. Got himself the win. I mean, he had a phenomenal car all night too, buying his time. Once he got the lead, though, he was just gone.
How much of what percentage did you actually give yourself? You're an excellent road course driver. You're awesome on the regular ovals, but you're an excellent road course driver. So, were you guys really banking on trying to get a win here tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I would have loved to win. I always expect to at least be competing for the win, which I did tonight. But you can never expect to win, right? You got to earn it. So, Matt earned it tonight, and I had a lot of fun racing with Brandon too in those first 2 stages. It was a lot of fun. It was really evenly matched battle there. kind of like you said, I made a mistake at the beginning on that restart, which is what gave me my damage. And then, like 100 yards down the track, he missed a turn, and I kind of got the upper hand from that point on and was able to keep second. So I'm pretty happy with my finish. I felt like it reflected the pace I had tonight.
So what about the new tire model? Were your tires there at the end? Could you tell that they were falling off? I mean, you were putting down some blistering laps. I think one of maybe 3 or 4 drivers that actually had a sub 111. So did you feel your tires though? Were they actually in your favor, or were they like a detriment towards the end of this thing?
They definitely were falling off. I could see on a hotter track with this new tire model, taking tires at key points in a longer race like this would definitely benefit. With the track being so cool tonight and with it getting dark, I don't think we really got to see the full scope of it yet. But you could definitely tell there was definitely some drop off. If you cooled them off, you could rip a really fast lap, midway through a run, but it would immediately get hot again and slow back down. So there's definitely moving the needle in the right direction, I would say, with the tire model, but definitely could use a little bit more wear, in my opinion.
All right, next week, man, we're just going to jump right into the deep end of the pool, going to Bristol, where it's a crapshoot. It's anybody's race. The strategy is just going to come down to who's in the best place to win. What are you hoping to do, and what can we expect to see from you guys next week?
Bristol, I have a love-hate with. Love the track. Usually hate the result I get there, so I'm just going to shoot for a solid top 5, top 10, and kind of like Brandon said, carry some momentum into next year and see what I can do.
Well, I'll tell you what, boss, solid performance for you here tonight. Started that thing in P3, finished in P2. Always good to have you on the podium. Always good to have you down there doing great things. Who you shouting out tonight for your podium finish?
Shout out the guys over at Dent Slayer, of course, you guys in the booth, Team Conti Sim Performance, Matt, Patrick, all my teammates. Brandon for the fun racing there. We had a lot of fun. And, Kenny for putting on the league, of course.
Roger that. Ford. As I always say, don't party too hard, man. And we'll see you next week.
Appreciate it, Big Al.
All right, that was Paul Hill, driver of the 26 machine. Next up, we're going to be talking to our winner, Matt DeCiani. Matt, do you read me?
Yeah, I got you.
Matt, what a good run for you tonight. Of course, you led 30 laps, but you didn't lead any laps in Stage 1 or Stage 2. I mean, all your laps led came in Stage 3. What was the strategy there? I mean, did you mean to start a little bit further back and kind of work your way up, or did you not qualify as well as you thought you would?
No, I botched my second lap in Q. Think I probably would have had a top 3 starting spot if I didn't mess it up. But yeah, I mean, strategy-wise, I planned to do exactly what I did, no matter where I started. So, executed it. Honestly, I was struggling at the end of the race. The darkness was, I was being ultra conservative because I was having a hard time seeing, couldn't hit my marks at all. And I don't know, these tires do seem like they're wearing out, so I was just trying to be really conservative, and I think I was almost too conservative there in the last 10 laps, and those guys started running me down, and I was like, uh-oh. And when I tried to pick the pace up, I couldn't get back in a rhythm, and I was like, I'm in trouble if this is any longer than a lap or 2.
Understood there. I mean, that's interesting because, from our view up in the broadcast booth, we can't really see the issue with the visibility. It seems like we can see fine. So it was different from the cockpit?
Yeah, more so carousel through 6 was 6 was the hardest to see because I use a marker on the grass kind of as a breaking point, and I missed it probably every lap, the last 10 laps, and just trying to not overshoot it because I overshot it 1 lap, so I was backing it up, and I think I was backing up way too far, but luckily I had built a big enough lead where it was enough to hang on. But honestly, if it was 1 more lap, I don't know if I would have won that race.
Yeah, definitely. It seemed like those guys were very much closing in on you on that last lap, but you were able to hold on to it. And this is kind of something we see a lot with you, to where, at these road courses, you might not start in the lead, but you a lot of times end up there towards the end of the race. You think about the Chicago street course. I know you didn't end up winning that race, but you definitely led a lot of laps. Do you feel like this kind of gets you back on the right track? What does this do for your momentum in the playoffs?
I don't know, really say it does much for me. I feel like I've had a chance to win a lot of races these last, I don't know, 5-6 weeks. I've just made mistakes or things haven't worked out. I need to clean up some stuff, I think, to have a good shot this year. I mean, I think I got a decent shot to go pretty deep, but just got to clean up some mistakes on my end. We're executing pretty well, but, you know, still just gotta be perfect. And I haven't been perfect lately, but things to work on, so just trying to be better.
And I think that speaks a lot on the competition that's in this series now. I mean, you got guys that you have to be perfect, because if you're not, there's someone else that's going to grab the baton and run with it. So I think in a lot of ways that speaks to the talent level of the series. Would you say that the talent level's at an all-time high?
Since I've been in it, yes, I would say it's at an all-time high.
Well, we definitely are loving to see that, Matt. Congratulations on the win here at Watkins Glen. How's Bristol looking for you? What are you thinking about that?
I love Bristol. Like you guys said, it's kind of a crapshoot a little bit. Just, I guess the goal is to kind of just survive and try to get a win. I guess points don't really matter for me anymore this round, but do what I can to have a shot at the end and, yeah, try to get some more playoff points.
That's definitely going to be the key. So maybe try to get stage points as well as get more points at the end of the race, just to kind of set yourself up a buffer for later in the playoffs. That's definitely a good play. Matt, who can we shout out after your win here at Watkins Glen?
Yeah, thanks for you guys for calling the race. Kenny putting on the league. Shout out to Paul and Brandon on their P2 and P3. I want to shout out my buddy Joe. We ran something, we built something experimental tonight, and I think it had a lot of promise. So that's good going forward. Shout out Team Conti and Martin PC.
Alrighty, thanks Matt. We'll see you next time.
Thanks guys.
Alrighty, that was Matt DeCiani, driver of the One Machine. Definitely a great run for him tonight at Watkins Glen. Definitely showing why he is one of the best road course racers in this series. I'll tell you what, I'm just loving the road course racing in the series lately here, Big Al. And I feel like every time we go to a road course, we're seeing, we really don't know who's going to win. I mean, a lot of times in past years here in the ISCA, we've like seen a guy show up and it's like, oh, we know he's going to win. But I don't think that's the case anymore.
You know, Brian, I'm gonna bring you back to, I remember you and I calling road courses at Watkins Glen and Sonoma where there's like 6 or 7 cars in the entire field, you know. So you just look at where we are today versus where we were. I mean, and that's just that's a beautiful testament to the league and what these drivers in Kenny are bringing here. They're all bringing their A game. You gotta love it, man.
For sure, and I'm looking forward to next week. We're going to be at Bristol Motor Speedway. That is a great track. I think it's going to be a fun one. We're going to see some unpredictable stuff. We're going to see some guys beating and banging at the last great Coliseum. I'm just super, super excited. I mean, I think a lot of the possibly anger that we've seen kind of displayed over this season might all come down to, maybe be displayed at Bristol. Could we possibly see a whole season worth of drama at Bristol? I think it's definitely possible for sure. I'm looking forward to it. Make sure you tune in. You don't want to miss it. 9:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's when the broadcast will go live. The race itself will go green a little bit after 9:30. Be there or be square. We'll see you there. My name is Brian Britt. We'll see you next time.